New Moon Sinister Asylums, the macabre history of America's first insane asylum. Studio microphone introduction. Imagine an imposing stone fortress on a lonely hill, the walls blackened by centuries of weather and grief. Imagine windows that once shimmered with morning light, now covered in grime and iron bars. This is the story of the first insane asylum in America, a story hidden beneath cracked tiles, lost medical journals, and ghostly whispers that have never truly faded. Today, we peel back the rotting layers of time to explore Stonehurst Asylum, built in 1792, an institution meant to heal but destined to become a monument of suffering. Through diaries, forgotten newspaper clippings, and the accounts of those who dared to step inside, we uncover the chilling truth: Stonehurst was more than an asylum. It was a place where madness and medicine danced hand in hand, and where the living envied the dead. Mantelpiece Clock Chapter 1. The Birth of a Nightmare. In the fledgling years of the United States, mental illness was poorly understood. Those deemed mad were often chained in basements or hidden from polite society. Reformers of the era believed a grand institution, a house of healing and order, would restore sanity. In 1792, under the direction of Dr. Silas Greaves, Stonehurst Asylum rose from the limestone hills outside Providence, Rhode Island. Greaves, educated in Europe, had witnessed the grim hospitals of London and Paris and vowed to build something different, a place of moral treatment, as he called it. But from the first day, Stonehurst was overshadowed by tragedy. During construction, a section of the roof collapsed, killing 7 workers. Locals whispered of an ancient burial ground beneath the site, though the official report dismissed it as rumor. Yet the deaths were only the beginning. Stethoscope Chapter 2. The Doctor and His Methods. Dr. Greaves was an imposing man, tall with a scholar's brow and a priest's severity. His journals, discovered decades later, paint a picture of obsession. The mind, he wrote, must be broken to be rebuilt. He pioneered what he believed were revolutionary treatments. The immersion chamber. Patients were strapped into deep, ice-cold baths for hours, meant to shock the brain to clarity. The whisper cell. A tiny, pitch-dark room where patients were confined for days, forced to hear only their own breathing. The harmonium experiment. Patients were lined in a hall as Dr. Greaves played a massive pipe organ, believing low frequencies could harmonize disturbed minds. Greaves genuinely believed he could cure madness. Yet patients rarely improved. Many became shadows, muttering in forgotten tongues or scratching at the walls until their fingers bled. And still, Stonehurst's reputation grew. Families, desperate to rid themselves of their troublesome kin, paid dearly to have them committed. Scroll Chapter 3. Tales from Within. By 1803, Stonehurst housed nearly 200 souls. Among them, Eleanor Nell Faulkner, a young woman sent by her wealthy father for hysteria. Her diary, smuggled out by a sympathetic orderly, describes months of terror, the wails echoing through the halls, the smell of bleach and blood, and the man in the shadows who watches while we sleep. Jonathan Hale, a Civil War veteran whose letters to his wife detail nights when the inmates rose as if guided by unseen hands, chanting words no Christian tongue should utter. Mary Locke, a child barely 8, committed for nightmares. She disappeared one winter night, her tiny bed found empty. No search party was organized. In the cold dawn, only her rag doll lay in the snow near the sealed-off East Wing. Locke Chapter 4. The East Wing. The East Wing was the oldest part of the asylum, constructed first, but soon abandoned after the incident of 1795. Records speak only in vague terms: a fire, a riot, and the deaths of several staff members and patients. In the decades that followed, the East Wing became a forbidden place. Doors were chained shut, windows bricked over. Staff refused to discuss it, and patients spoke of shadows crawling from the cracks. But the walls remember. In the 1860s, after the Civil War, the East Wing briefly reopened to accommodate the flood of traumatized soldiers. Within weeks, reports emerged of strange symbols scratched into the walls, mysterious disappearances, and patients driven to suicide. The wing was sealed forever. To this day, those brave enough to explore the ruins report an unnatural cold, even in summer. EVP recordings captured chilling whispers: "We are still here." Drop of Blood Chapter 5. The Bloodletting Years. After Dr. Greaves' death in 1820, Stonehurst passed to his protégé, Drive. Nathaniel Roach. Roach embraced bloodletting as a universal cure. Under his rule, patients were regularly drained of bad humors, leaving many weak or dead. Roach also revived the discredited practice of trepanation, drilling holes into patients' skulls to release evil vapors. Officially, these were rare cases, but secret ledgers discovered in 1924 revealed dozens of procedures, most on women and children. Roach's reign ended in scandal when a journalist infiltrated the asylum, reporting on horrific conditions, patients chained naked in cells, rats crawling over them, and the overpowering stench of rot. Public outcry led to his dismissal, but the institution endured. Somehow, it always endured. Derelict House Chapter 6, Decay and Dread. By the late 19th century, Stonehurst was falling apart. Leaking roofs, failing walls, and underpaid staff created a breeding ground for disease. In 1892, an outbreak of typhus killed over 40 inmates in a month. Yet even in ruin, Stonehurst attracted the forgotten, immigrants, the poor, and those society deemed unworthy. Patients outnumbered staff 5 to 1. Abuse became routine, beatings, starvation, even rumored sexual assaults by guards. The asylum's administration built newer, grander wings to hide the decay. Wealthier patients lived in relative comfort, never seeing the darkness of the lower wards. And still, people vanished. Some blamed escape attempts, others spoke of hidden tunnels beneath the asylum, where patients were taken and never seen again. Cooking Knife Chapter 7, The Riot of 1911. Stonehurst's bloodiest chapter came on a frigid February night in 1911. Overcrowded, freezing, and starving, a group of inmates in Ward C overpowered an orderly. Armed with makeshift weapons, they rampaged through the halls. Fire broke out in the kitchens, quickly spreading through the wooden beams. In the chaos, guards fled, some reportedly locked patients inside to burn. When dawn rose, 74 bodies lay among the smoldering ruins. The official report blamed deranged inmates, but survivors told darker tales, that something stirred in the East Wing that night, an old evil, freed by desperation. The riot led to a brief closure, but remarkably, Stonehurst reopened 2 years later. It always reopened. High Voltage Chapter 8, Electric Dreams. By the 1930s, a new, miracle, treatment arrived, electroconvulsive therapy (ECT). Stonehurst embraced it eagerly. Patients were lined up for daily sessions, often without anesthesia. Some improved, or seemed to, but many suffered broken teeth, burns, or permanent memory loss. Dr. Victor Mallory, the asylum's superintendent, championed ECT as the modern cure, dismissing complaints as the cost of progress. Mallory also experimented with insulin coma therapy, injecting patients with massive doses of insulin to induce seizures. Patients were tied to beds, sweat pouring from their bodies as nurses waited for revival or death. Over 200 patients died under Mallory's tenure, though no charges were filed. The treatment failed them, Mallory wrote, not the doctor. Test Tube Chapter 9, The Final Decades. By the 1950s, psychotropic drugs transformed psychiatry, and asylums across America emptied. But Stonehurst lingered. Forgotten by reformers and overshadowed by newer institutions, it became a warehouse for the incurable. The buildings decayed further. Paint peeled from walls, floors buckled, and whole wings were abandoned. Rats and mold thrived where patients once suffered. The last recorded patient census in 1967 listed only 43 inmates, mostly elderly, some too damaged to know they were still alive. In 1971, the state quietly shut the doors, moving the remaining patients elsewhere. Stonehurst stood empty, its halls echoing with silence. Derelict House Chapter 10, Legends and Legacy. Since its closure, Stonehurst has attracted ghost hunters, urban explorers, and the curious. Few stay long. Stories abound. Shadowy figures glimpsed in moonlit halls, sudden drops in temperature, and an overwhelming sense of despair. EVP sessions have captured chilling phrases, "Don't leave us," and "He still walks." In 1992, a historian researching the asylum vanished inside. Only her recorder was found, tape still spinning, capturing the sound of slow, ragged breathing. Locals speak of the East Wing as cursed ground, where the dead walk in circles, trapped by their suffering. Book's epilogue. What remains? Today, Stonehurst is a ruin, broken walls, shattered windows, and halls littered with decaying patient files. Yet the story of America's first insane asylum is more than a chronicle of cruelty. It is a testament to our deepest fear, that in trying to cure madness, we created something far worse, a house of horror where compassion died and darkness took root. Though the walls may crumble, Stonehurst's ghosts remain. And as long as we remember, its story will echo in every forgotten asylum, every shuttered ward, and every shadowed corner where the past refuses to die. Flashlight outro. In the end, the most chilling truth isn't what happened within Stonehurst's walls. It's that it could, and did, happen everywhere. Across America, grand asylums rose with noble intentions and fell into decay, cruelty, and nightmare. The history of Stonehurst Asylum is a mirror held to our past. A warning, a lament, and a haunting reminder that sometimes, the real horror comes not from madness, but from those who claim to cure it. If you'd like, I can also adapt this into a script format for a podcast or documentary. Add real historical references for authenticity. Write sound cues, narrator notes, and atmospheric effects for an immersive listening experience. Would you like me to do that?